We've been asked by prospective timber framers about the broad picture, in particular the site and all the questions about having a site. Well, we have a course called the Design Build course where we spend 100 hours going over that. So I'm going to do it now in 2 minutes for you, just to give you an idea. So the first thing to consider is that you're going to be buying a piece of land, and there will be all of these sentimental questions. So we've got that, we've got beauty, we've got all kinds of things which we could lump together as subjective. So we draw a line here, and we'll have all of these things influencing the land. And over on this side, we have things like power, driveway, well, septic. In other words, the objective. So if you have a whole lot of money, these will trump everything. If you're like most of us, these will trump everything. So, for instance, you've got your lot. And typically, that would be on a road. So the first thing that people don't think about is getting power to their house. If you happen to have a telephone pole here, that telephone line can be brought to where you think you're going to have your house. The power company is willing to go 75 feet, and maybe they'll go as much as 300 feet. So that means that the house needs to be within 300 feet at most of the telephone pole. If you have a lot of money, you can put your house anywhere because the power company is willing to go as far as you want. I just put a line in that's 1 mile long that went from the telephone pole to the other end of my farm where my daughter built a house. And the power company wanted $60,000 to do that. I bought an old excavator and ended up being able to do it for about $18,000 for 1 mile of underground power. So if you have little money, the 300 feet is it. Over here we have the driveway. So the driveway goes from the road to your house. Do you have any idea what a driveway costs today? $50 a foot is what it costs to build a driveway. So of course, that's why you see so many houses built right on the road. They couldn't afford that $50 a foot going deep into the site. The well, where is it that water is likely? And that relates to the septic system. The septic system has to be on a part of your lot that is high and dry. The high and dry soil is full of all kinds of bacteria and nematodes and other animals that kill all the pathogens in sewage. If you try to put a sewage septic system in lowland, the water in the spring rises enough to kill all of those bacteria. So it doesn't work as a septic field. So a very limited part of your land is suitable for septage. And that's usually the higher area. And that, of course, is where you want to put your house. So now there's this battle between the septic field or the house. Who's going to win? The septic field can be higher than the house. It's fairly common today to pump septage uphill to a septic field. So in a nutshell, those are the simple objective things that you want to look at. You know, and as I said, we spent 4 hours on just site. There are all kinds of things having to do with contour lines going across. So all of the rain that falls on your neighbor, where does it go? Does it all end up at your place? Does it go away from your place? How far back does it go? I built a house one time, my wife and I, on a lot. We had a driveway go over a tiny little stream that was completely dry. So I figured, I'll put in a 3-foot culvert. That should take care of everything. Well, we had a rainstorm, and the culvert and the road washed 100 feet downstream. It was unbelievable. I looked at the contour map, and it turned out that we were draining 5 square miles on that little stream bed. And that 5 square miles was all clay that did not absorb water. So it all flowed in one big storm, huge amounts of water. We also have types of soils. So there are maps around the country that will tell you everything that's in your soil. I like horses, and I was trying to breed them, and they just wouldn't breed. There was no selenium in the soil on my farm. And I was able to find that out from public sources. There are at least 10 ways to get water and to survive, sufficient to survive on. In this country, we think only of the one, the drilled well, but there are plenty of others. There's a whole issue of making water pure enough to drink so that you don't get ill living on your own site. It's a good idea to thoroughly study. I mean, take the 4 hours to find out all of the things that are that might affect your land and mostly your ability to afford to build on that land. I was just hired by a non-student to assess a piece of property, and these folks were looking at a piece of land that was something like this. So the more lines there are on the contour map, the steeper it is. Well, it turned out that down here, they had this one area that was relatively flat next to the road. And then it just continued to get steeper and steeper and steeper. And from here, they could see the ocean 5 miles away. So where do you think they wanted to build their house? Right there, of course. Well, building a road straight up this hill would have required at least 3 hairpin turns to get to there. It was that steep. And they were going to buy that land. They had no idea. And when they saw that and the cost, of course, immediately that piece of property was not worth buying. And yet thousands of people get into these situations. And so they end up having to build way down here, and that one dream is no longer available or accessible. So it's possible to build on any piece of land. And I've always enjoyed the really challenging ones. I mean, I've built houses where I had to string cables from tree to tree and had to anchor and cable the trees down to the ground so that they wouldn't bend over. All of that can be a ball. And if you have the time and the energy, it can be a wonderful thing to have in your past to talk about to your great-grandchildren. I wouldn't be completely turned off by any piece of land, but the reality today, more than in the past, is that we have a fixed income, and even that fixed income is somewhat always in jeopardy. In the old days, we were on our own land, we grew our own food, we had all kinds of time. It was a different way to relate to land. So it probably requires a lot more care to pick out a piece that is affordable. That's why today land for homes is usually acquired through subdivisions. And the government has already done a lot of the pre-testing for you. The subdivision has all kinds of rules it has to comply with. A road of a certain quality has to be built there for the fire department. And septic system soils have already been analyzed. All of this stuff has already been taken care of. And of course, that piece of property costs a fortune per square foot compared to the lot that you buy out in the country that doesn't have any of that done for you. So I would suggest that the first thing you do is make that line with the objective things on the one side, the subjective things on the other, and figure out who you are and where you fit financially in that divide. Then just think about the United States. We are only 320 million people. We're not a billion people like India or China. And of course, within the United States, we have situations like Maine that has 5 people per square mile, and Massachusetts that has 35 people per square mile. Huge difference. And these differences occur all over the country. So there is always a way for you to live the way you want to in the United States today. Don't be discouraged. It's very exciting to build your own home. Very exciting to create a lifestyle that you like, and it's totally possible to do. Thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.
Hey there, thank you for watching. Here at Shelter Institute in Woolwich, Maine, we teach a wide variety of house building and timber framing and carving classes. We'd love to see you here, but if you can't make it to Maine to take one of our classes, our online class is available at shelterinstitute.com.